This is a review of the BESS and Excursion balance systems. Beginning with the BESS, or the Balance Error Scoring System, this is a system that utilizes 6 postures for 20 seconds each. So you'll have the patient begin with their feet together or just within shoulder width apart and their hands on their hips. We'll begin on a solid surface, as we can see in the top row. After we've done all 3 of those postures, we will go to an unstable surface. Again, we perform this with our eyes closed for 20 seconds, and we're going to measure the times that they leave this position. Things that count as leaving the position, as can be found on the BESS scorecard, include lifting the hands off the iliac crest, opening the eyes, stepping, stumbling, or falling, moving the hip into greater than 30 degrees of abduction, lifting the forefoot or the heel, or remaining out of the test position for more than 5 seconds. We calculate the score by adding 1 point for every time that they leave the testing position or perform an error out of every 20-second interval. So if we watch these videos, we'll go through, and these aren't full 20-second clips, but we're going to identify the errors that we find within these clips. So in the top clip, as we watch, we're noting, again, looking for any of the errors that we listed. So far so good. She's got a little bit of postural sway, but nothing that would count as an error. In the bottom image, there we have our first error as she fell out of position. And that would be the only error. So between these two, we would only have 1 point. As we move into single leg stance that we are performing on her non-dominant leg, we have a balance right away. We saw the hip go into greater than 30 degrees of abduction, and she lost balance, so that would be 2 points. There's a third time that we lost our balance and unable to come back in the test position quicker than 5 seconds. Okay, so those would be our main errors on this one. So if we had calculated her score on her performing the best just on the ground, we would have come up with a total of 4 points. We would now do the same thing, but we would repeat all 3 tests on the AirX pad, including double leg stance, tandem stance, and single leg on the non-dominant leg, and then we would add our scores together to get our total score for the best. This test is an example of an excursion test, and there's a lot of different tools out there that you can use to perform these tests. This is the one that we have access to. To use this, you can do it in a variety of ways. You can have the patient stand on their dominant or their non-dominant leg, and what you're doing is picking a set of lines that you want that patient to touch or be able to reach along. You're looking to measure both the quality of movement and how far along the line they're able to reach. So if they're able to touch the 50 mark or the 70 mark or all the way out to the 90 mark is what we're going to try to record at each spot. So he's going to stand on his right leg and try to touch as far out along those lines as he can at each spot with his right hand. We notice here that he's not standing all the way up in between each, so we would correct that and ask him to stand all the way up in between each position. And then we only want to record as far out as he can touch without losing his balance. In the video on the right, he's going to go ahead and stand on his left foot and then try to touch the quarter lines again, only with his right foot. And same thing, we're trying to see how far along the lines he can reach while maintaining his balance. And with this one, you're simply looking to record how far along each of the lines they made contact with and at what intervals or which lines they were reaching along. So looking at another example, on the left-hand side, we'll see standing on that right foot again, contacting with the right arm, trying to touch each of the lines. So again, we would be noting how far along the lines she can reach where she's losing her balance. And we would only record the numbers that she can stay stable for. On the right-hand side, we see her standing on the left leg, reaching with the right foot on those quarter intervals again. So if I was recording a score for this, there's a couple of different ways that you can do it. We can initially say that, for example, on this leg, she's reaching along the quarter line, so there's 130 degrees, there's 45 degrees, and on the 45, we could say that she contacted 90. On the 135 degrees, she was probably between 80 and 90. You can record your scores in that way. So you could say at the 45 degree mark, she was able to contact the 90 line, which is the distance from the center. You can record it that way, or you can record quality of movement. You can videotape it. There's any number of ways that you can use this tool to try to quantify and be able to track their balance over time.